Hey everybody, my name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons. I wanted to thank you for listening to this episode of The Morning Show. I'm the creator, the producer, and the host of the show. We want you to check out our website. It's themorningshowwithnatalie.com. You can go to that website. You can see all about our sponsors, all about the show. You can even listen to live episodes while they're going on right there from the website. Another way to listen to the show live is go to Live 365. You can download that app and just search for The Morning Show. It's right there. Super easy. We want you to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you will. That way you can keep up with what's going on The Morning Show. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it.
Hey friend, it's great to have you tuned into The Morning Show today. Here on The Morning Show, you'll hear your favorite Southern gospel music and some of the classics you'll never forget. And now, the hostess of The Morning Show, Natalie Duncan-Emmons.
When you wake up to the storm and all you feel are the waves crashing against your boat, you wonder if anybody remembers you or the journey that you're on. When you feel discouraged from what you see on the news or the events going on around you, well, friend, cut it off. Don't look to the left or to the right, look up. And when everything inside of you is screaming to be afraid, to accept defeat, or to hand our enemy a victory, well, you need to sing. And then keep singing. Sing it some more. For we are God's people. And that's just what God's people do. Well, we sing.
He said sing from a laughing heart, just sing. When the night is darkest, sing. Let your joy explode and let music fill the air. You can sing when there's nothing else to do, sing. When something deep inside of you tells you that life is still a wonder, just throw back your head and sing. He said sing from a laughing heart, just sing. When the night is darkest, sing. Let your joy explode and let music fill the air. You can sing when there's nothing else to do, sing. When something deep inside of you tells you that life is still a wonder, just throw back your head and sing. When God created living things, He knew we'd need a way to share our fears, our questions, and our dreams. Oh, there were words, but words won't do when joy swells up inside. There simply had to be a better way. And He said sing from a laughing heart, just sing. When the night is darkest, sing. Let your joy explode and let music fill the air. You can sing when there's nothing else to do, sing. When something deep inside of you tells you that life is still a wonder, just throw back your head and sing. The birds God sent on flashing wings to fill the sky with song, put music in the brook and crashing sea.
The wind blew through the threads of grass like fingers through the strings of golden harps and made the meadow sing.
Then He said sing from a laughing heart, just sing. When the night is darkest, sing. Let your joy explode and let music fill the air. You can sing when there's nothing else to do, sing. When something deep inside of you tells you that life is still a wonder, just throw back your head and sing.
The psalmist said, "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before His presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, He is God. It is He that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture. Enter into His gates with thanksgiving, and into His courts with praise. Be thankful unto Him, and bless His name. For the Lord is good. His mercy is everlasting, and His truth endureth to all generations."
Then He said sing from a laughing heart, just sing. When the night is darkest, sing. Let your joy explode and let music fill the air.
You can sing
when there's nothing else to do, sing. When something
mess I'm in like only I can do. When I start thinking I'm so far from you, I wake up to hear you whisper that's not true. Well, good morning, mercy. You call me worthy. Feels like the sun shining on my face. Living's good this side of grace. I feel it working. Goodbye to the hurting. You woke me up, put me on my way. Hallelujah, it's a brand new day. Good morning, mercy. Yeah, I'm still learning to trust and follow. I won't worry what tomorrow's gonna bring, 'cause you hold it all there in your hands. I'm lifting mine up now, 'cause it makes me sing. Good morning, mercy. You call me worthy. It feels like the sun shining on my face. Living's good this side of grace. I feel it working. Goodbye to the hurting. You woke me up, put me on my way. Hallelujah, it's a brand new day. Good morning, mercy. Yeah, hallelujah, it's a brand new day. Starts all over when daylight breaks. You're giving me joy, it makes me sing. Good morning, good morning. Oh, hallelujah, it's a brand new day. Starts all over when daylight breaks. You're giving me a song that makes me sing. Good morning, good morning, mercy. You call me worthy. It feels like the sun shining on my face. Living's good, the side of grace. I feel it working. Goodbye to the hurting. You woke me up, put me on my way. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Good morning, mercy. Good morning, mercy. Good morning, mercy.
My name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons, and you are listening to a special throwback edition of The Morning Show.
Well, my name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons, and you are listening to The Morning Show, and it's Thursday morning, so that means we are throwing it back. And today we're going back to the late 80s to a trio that had a huge fan covering all over the nation. They were a fan favorite with hits like Miracle in Me, Twinkling of an Eye, Glorious City of God, Jesus Rockin' Chair. We could go on all morning long about hits from the Greens. They were one of a kind. And today we have the one and only Mr. Tim Green right here on The Morning Show. You there, Tim?
I am. Natalie, how you doing today?
Well, we're doing fine. We've been excited about you being here. We've been talking about this all week.
Oh, thank you. It's just a blessing to be able to be with you today.
Well, it's a true honor for us. I started listening to the Greens when I was about 7 years old. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'll say this, if you didn't get to go see the Greens in concert, well, you've really never been to a concert, because the Greens could do it in a style like nobody else. You were a one of a kind. And I always just loved that unique style that you had on stage.
Well, I appreciate that. That's really sweet. We always tried our best to usher in the presence of the Lord every time we would sing. To us, that was the most important thing. And just looking back over the years, the Lord met with us so many times. He was so good to us.
He was sweet memories. And how's the family doing? Update us.
Everybody's doing really well. Yeah, everybody's good. Tony's children are doing great. My daughter is my oldest daughter's married and married a financial planner, and they're doing real well. My youngest daughter is 17 and just started driving recently, and she plays not on one but two softball teams and doing very well with that. So, we're just living life and enjoying the blessings that the Lord has for us.
Well, that's great. We mentioned all those songs, all those hits of the Greens. You had so many through the years, but today we're looking back at one specific song that I want us to talk about. It ranked number 6 among the very best Southern gospel songs out of the whole decade of the 1980s.
Wow.
That song is When I Knelt, the Blood Fell. Tim, that was your very first number 1 song, if I'm not mistaken. Spent 3 months at number 1. Is that right?
That's right. It was. It was just a wonderful blessing that the Lord gave me in that song. I'll never forget. I was in the back of the bus, and the Lord started giving me that song, and I didn't have any paper anywhere nearby, and we had just stopped at Wendy's to get some lunch, and so I tore the bag up and made a piece of paper out of the Wendy's bag and wrote that song on the bag in about 15 minutes. And
Wow.
I've learned over the years, the best songs are the ones that the Lord just gives you all at once, immediately. And that was one of those songs. So
Wow.
I'm so thankful that folks are still remembering it today and still being a blessing to people.
Well, we do remember it, and we honor that song today. We honor the Greens today, as a
Thank you.
matter of fact. And it's interesting what you said. It's amazing how God can take a Wendy's sack and make something so powerful out of it. Isn't that
That's
something?
right.
And you
Yeah,
wrote
only
this,
God
Tim.
can do that.
Only God can do that. Isn't that something? Here it is, that great song from 1989, When I Knelt, the Blood Fell.
Sin is a captive. It binds and it holds, and Satan will try to abolish your soul. But there's only one hope for your destiny. And that one hope is found when you're down on your knees. When I knelt, the blood
just as powerful today as it has ever been. What a song. Thank you for writing that song, Tim. Thank you for being here on the morning show.
It's a blessing to be with you. Thanks for having me today.
Look, before you go, I want to play one more song from the Greens. This was one of my favorites. There were so many good ones, but this one was another one that was the first time you ever heard it. You'd stop in your tracks and go, wow, what a song. That song is I Am a Christian. You wrote this one as well. Tell us about writing that.
Yes, we were doing a live album in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and it was in front of a crowd of almost 30,000 people. It was one of the largest venues that we ever did. And thinking of a live album, I really started praying. And I said, God, would you please give me a song that says what you want to be said at this time and in front of this many people? And the Lord just kept putting it on my heart that it's time to stand up and show the world that you're a Christian. And with that thought in mind, the wheels started turning and God started giving me the words. And before too long, we had a melody and the Lord just put it all together. And man, it was exciting that night at LJVM Auditorium in Winston-Salem. And listening back to it still today, I get cold chills when I hear that large audience and hear them praising the Lord as we're singing. And just so thankful for such great memories, you know.
Well, why don't we listen to it this morning? One of the greatest live recordings ever. This is it right here. Here's the Greens. I Am a Christian.
If it would be all right with you all tonight, our final song is a song about a Christian. And I want our friends that we are privileged to work with week after week to come and to help us sing tonight. But a Greens final song that we leave for the 1996 tour of the Greens is the tour of I Am a Christian. I believe God's holy word tonight. Stephen stood with hands tied, as rocks pierced his flesh. He died for proclaiming Jesus. Oh, Stephen stood the test. Well, then there's Matthew and there's Peter, martyred for sharing Christ. The enemy has tried to defeat us, but they'll never hurt the bride. I am a Christian. I am God's soldier, fighting in an army that never will fail. I am a Christian, a Bible believer. You may criticize, laugh or cry, tell me I'm dead wrong. I am a Christian and God's army is still going strong.
For years they've tried to tear the walls of this church down, but faithful men and women have built on higher ground. And today you're not popular if you try to live the life. Well, you can have your popularity, oh, but please just give me Christ. I am a Christian. I am God's soldier, fighting in an army that never will fail. I am a Christian, a Bible believer. You may criticize, laugh or cry, tell me I'm dead wrong. I am a Christian and God's army is still going strong.
Well, you can count me in for prayer in school and for against aborting kids. Just put me in on God's side.
'Cause God's son's gonna win.
I am a Christian.
I am God's soldier,
Fighting in an army that never will fail. I am a Christian,
a Bible believer.
you may criticize, laugh or cry, tell me I'm dead wrong.
criticize, laugh and cry. Tell me I'm dead wrong. I am a Christian and God's army, still going strong. I am a Christian and God's army, still going strong. Going
My name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons, and you are listening to a special throwback edition of The Morning Show.
My name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons. You are listening to The Morning Show, and it's Thursday morning. You know what we do every Thursday morning? We throw it back to one of those classic hits from the 80s or the 90s, and today, well, we've got about as big a hit as we could ever pick from those decades. It's a fantastic song. We're throwing it back to the great Here I Am. One little lost lamb, and here I am. And you won't believe who we've got on the phone today. It's the writer of that great legendary song right there, Miss Sylvia Green. Miss Sylvia, are you with us?
I am here, and I am excited to be with you folks today.
Well, we are too. I've been knowing about this for several days that you were going to be here, and I just couldn't stand it. If there ever was a great song, Miss Sylvia, this is it.
Well, I tell you what, I can definitely say the hand of God was on this song from the very beginning. Even back to the story of how it got recorded is just a miracle within itself. So I can do nothing but just give God praise.
Well, not only was it a number one song, it was Song of the Year in 1990, and then went on to be Song of the Decade for the whole decade of the 90s. That's just an exceptional feat right there. I mean, how many songs, how many writers can say something like that? Do you have time to tell us the story behind Here I Am?
I do, and I'm excited about it. I've never lost the excitement of telling this story because, as I said earlier, it is a miracle within itself. And I'll try to make it as short as I possibly can because it does have a little bit of detail to it.
Well, we like details, and you've got our undivided attention.
Okay. Well, back before Kim and Dean Hopper got married, that's how far back we're going. I had left my family group. We had come off the road, and I left Alabama and moved to a place called La Plata, Maryland, which is about 30 minutes from the Beltway of Washington, D.C. So that was a long way from Alabama. Well, this didn't work out. I was only there about 8 months, I guess. So when I came back home, I was very discouraged. I was like, my singing's not working, my songwriting is not working. I wasn't getting very many cuts, and I was a very discouraged young lady. And during the time I was in La Plata, I had met a DJ there named Mr. Reggie Brand. Reggie happened to be wonderful friends with the Hoppers. Reggie would call me and he would say, Sylvia, God is not through with you. And I would say, Reggie, I think he is. I was just that convinced, okay, it was short-lived, it's over, it's done with, And he would say, you need to pitch your songs. And I would say, Reggie, I don't think there's any need to. I just don't think anybody's going to cut my songs. So Reggie took it upon himself, and when he went to Kim and Dean Hopper's wedding, he took the demo on a, can you believe, cassette tape.
Yeah, I remember. That's the good old days.
I know, cassette tape, and he took it to the wedding with him. Afterwards, he was in the home of Claude and Connie, hanging around, just chatting. And as Reggie tells it, over ham and cheese sandwiches. Wow. They were saying, you know what, Reggie, we're about to record a project, and we need one more song. And Reggie said, I just happen to have one. And he handed the cassette tape to them, and a couple of months later, I got a phone call in my home, and he said, this is Claude Hopper. I just wanted you to know we have just cut Here I Am. And he said, we have had a shouting time in the studio.
Wow.
So I've always said, a lot of times you read in the Bible, it says this person must needs go by such and such, or Jesus must needs go by such and such way. And I said, now I can look back and see why I moved from Alabama to La Plata, Maryland, even though it was only 8 months. Had that not happened, I wouldn't have met Reggie. Reggie wouldn't have taken the song, and it possibly would not have gotten recorded. So I just want to encourage anyone listening right now, maybe your life isn't making sense right now, but keep praying, keep trusting in the Lord, because maybe he has a path that you don't even know about, and he's working right now on your behalf.
Well, there's a lot of us needed to hear that this morning, Miss Sylvia. Some of us feel like we're still in Maryland.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it won't be long. It won't be long, and God's going to get us where he's taking us. And until then, we'll just enjoy the ride, do the best we can.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just try to share Jesus. Well, if anything has ever shared Jesus, this song right here does. And it's 2022. We at our church, we have sung Here I Am. So,
really?
Yeah, absolutely. We gathered around the piano, sung it as a special, and had a spell ourselves.
Well,
So
I love that.
all these years, we're still singing it.
I love that. I love hearing stories like that.
We still love it. And before long, somebody will say, sing Here I Am, and we'll do it again. We'll do it again.
That's wonderful.
We'll never forget this. This song is just special, and I'm excited about playing it on the morning show. Here's that number one song, the song of the year, and the song of the decade for the 90s. Here it is, Here I Am.
On that resurrection morning, when the redeemed are gathering in, I'll be in that royal number when they call my name. When they all join in and sing hallelujah to the King, I'll cry with a joyful sound, Lord, here I am. Here I am. Here I am. I'm the one the shepherd left the fold and found. There were 99, but he left the fold to find one little lost lamb, and here I am.
When old Gabriel blows the trumpet and we rise up in the air, in less time than a split second, we'll be changed from here to there, where there'll be no grief or pain, perfect peace and joy shall reign. Home at last I shall proclaim, Lord, here I am. Here I am. Here I am. I'm the one the shepherd left the fold and found. There were 99, but he left the fold to find one little lost lamb, and here I am. There were 99, but he left the fold to find one little lost lamb. He was searching for one little lost lamb. He found that one little lost lamb, and here I am.
Well, I want to talk to you about the good good folks over at Hometown Roots in Sebastopol, Mississippi. I've told you before about the Rainy and Me children's wear. It's an amazing clothing line for your kids, and starting today, you can get the 4th of July outfits 50% off. That's 50% off in the store starting today. Adorable red, white, and blue outfits to celebrate the holiday. And I just don't think we can start too early teaching our kids to be patriotic and proud to be an American. So we're asking you to support Hometown Roots and Rainy and Me. Go to Hometown Roots today, check out their selections of kids' clothing, and stock up on the red, white, and blue 4th of July attire right now for half off those selections, just in time for the holiday. You can call them to check out availability and sizing questions. That number is 601-625-7512, 601-625-7512. You can also send them a message on the fake book. They'll get back to you. That's Kitty Ladner and Hometown Roots over in Sebastopol, Mississippi. Just the place to be. My name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons, and you are listening to a special throwback edition of The Morning Show.
Music, ministry, and more. It's The Morning Show with Natalie Duncan-Emmons.
You're listening to The Morning Show. And now, with your patriotic point of view, here's Larry Gressett.
By the rude bridge that arched the flood, their flag to April's breeze unfurled. Here once the embattled farmers stood and fired the shot heard round the world. Ralph Waldo Emerson penned these lines about the famous battles of Lexington and Concord, the first official engagement between Britain and the colonies in the American Revolutionary War. Specifically, Emerson's poem describes the first shots fired by the Patriots at the North Ridge in what is now Charlestown in northwestern Boston, Massachusetts. The clash began on April 19, 1775, when more than 700 British soldiers were given what they thought were secret orders to destroy colonial military supplies in Concord, Massachusetts. Fortunately, thanks to a rather elaborate colonial intelligence network led by the Sons of Liberty, the Patriots were aware that their supplies were at risk, and they were able to move them to a different location long before the British began to move. Also, thanks to daring rides of a few brave men, the colonial militia knew that an engagement with the British Army was imminent. The first shot was fired just after dawn in Lexington, Massachusetts, the morning of the 19th, the shot heard round the world. That shot would lead to a free America. I'm Larry Gressett with your patriotic point of view.
The patriotic point of view was brought to you by Joe McGee Construction. Joe McGee Construction believes family is one of God's greatest gifts. Family owned and operated for the past 33 years, Joe McGee Construction is the proud employer of some of Mississippi's best tradesmen. Together, we are supporting our communities and working hard to ensure that every commute to work and every ride to school brings us safely home to our loved ones. Valuing faith, family, and the Magnolia State, Joe McGee Construction is building safer roads for a better Mississippi. Joe McGee is my friend, and I thank him for helping us bring you the best mix of Southern gospel music, along with your patriotic point of view here on The Morning Show.
All right. About to take y'all on a little ride. I can still see us now on Rupert Lake Road, all dressed up from our head to our toe. There was nothing that we love more than going to church. Yeah. Uncle Leroy and Lois singing joy bells of heaven. Me and Donna Sue just
My name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons. You're listening to The Morning Show, and it's Thursday morning. And you know what we do on Thursday morning? We throw it back to a classic from the 80s or the 90s. And today we are focusing on a group formed way back in 1946 by J.G. Whitfield, originally known as the Gospel Melody Quartet. They were renamed in 1954 to the group we know and love as the Florida Boys. Members like Les Beasley, Glenn Allred, Darrell Stewart, and, well, around 1972, they gained this guy right here, Mr. Buddy Lyles, the bass singer of the Florida Boys for a mighty long time. He's with us this morning. Mr. Buddy, are you there?
I am here.
Well, we're glad that you are. You've made our week special anticipating today. I know there have been a few concerns this week. Was it going to happen? Was it not going to happen? There's been some internet connection issues. But, you know, we found another way to do this, and I'm so glad we worked it out.
Yes, absolutely.
And where there's a will, there's a way, right?
That's right.
Well, we sure wanted you on the morning show. Well, let's talk about your days with the Florida Boys. I know you were there a long time, and you had to have seen some pretty interesting things along the way. Tell us about some of those days with the Florida Boys, Mr. Buddy.
Well, I moved down from Cincinnati, Ohio in 1972, stayed with the Florida Boys for 26 years, and it was a thrill to meet up with the guys. They called me on a Sunday morning. Is there any way you could be here Monday morning to fly in from Cincinnati to Pensacola, and we want to talk to you about joining the group? I said, I'll be there. And so I came, and we tried out. We worked for about an hour on a PA system, and a few minutes later, Les said, wouldn't we go down and have a sandwich? He said, Buddy, if you're interested, you got the job if you want it. I said, I'm interested, and I want the job. And so I stayed 26 years.
26 years. Mr. Buddy, that's a long time. Of all the bass singers out there, I'm sure that there are some that have stayed with particular groups that long, but it's not a crowded category. There's not many of them. Not many bass singers have stayed with the same group 26 years. What a career.
That's true. I was working with I always said, not only professional people, but they were family people also. Mm-hmm. And so they were hardworking people to be around, and we just joined right in, and everywhere we go, we try to give the people the best we could give them every time we sang.
And you always did. I saw the Florida Boys in concert many times when I was young, and it was always a treat. It was always exciting to go see the Florida Boys. Well, we had you on today specifically to talk about a song that was a big, big song for the Florida Boys back in the day. When he was on the cross, I was on his mind. You remember that song, Mr. Buddy?
That song will never leave my mind. I can remember when we were in Nashville recording. Ronnie Henson came by and he said, I've got a song that I'd like for you to record or listen to, but I don't have it quite finished. So he came back about 2 hours later and said, I finished the second verse, and I'm asking you to at least listen to the song. And we listened, and we said, let's get it on tape as quick as we can. And it was when he was on the cross, I was on his mind. And the most unusual song, but the most unusual message, and became number one on the charts for, I think, 2 years in a row. And so the people still love that song. They want to hear it all the time.
Well, I want to hear it too. Let's play it this morning. We're throwing it back to the Florida Boys. When he was on the cross, I was on his mind.
I'm not on an ego trip. I'm nothing on my own. I make mistakes and often slip. Just common flesh and bones. But I'll prove someday just what I say. I'm of a special kind. When he was on the cross, his head. The blood was on that scarlet robe and stained it crimson red. Though his eyes were on the crowd that day, he looked ahead in time. 'Cause when he was on the cross, I was on his mind. He knew me, yet he loved me. He whose glory makes the heavens shine, so unworthy of such mercy. Yet when he was on the cross, I was on his mind. Yet when he was on the cross, I was on his mind.
Well, there it was, that classic hit from the Florida Boys, When He Was on the Cross, I Was on His Mind. But, Buddy, I believe it's as good today as it was then. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. It rings a bell to me every time I hear it on the radio or I'm playing it in my automobile. It always rings a bell. And I said, I remember those days.
Well, Mr. Buddy, do you remember when that song came out?
I believe it was 19. Oh my! Let's see. I'm going to say 72, 82. I think it was 83.
I think you're right. I think that's when it was released. I know it went on to be Song of the Year in 85 and 86. Hey, Mr. Buddy, I wonder how many people across this nation have sung that song.
Many, many people. Several hundred, I would say.
They did love it, and we still do. Well, the Florida Boys, they've been a staple in Southern gospel music for a long time. You had Les, the patriarch businessman in gospel music. You had Glenn with those smooth vocals. You had Daryl with his red socks. And then you had that likable Buddy Lyles rounding it all out on the deep bass notes. We still hadn't gotten over the Florida Boys. We still remember you guys.
Well, we appreciate the good thoughts and what you're saying. We appreciate that very much. Les, of course, is gone, and Daryl Stewart, the piano player, is gone.
Right.
But they made it to that place that they sang and played about for many, many years, that place called Heaven.
That's right. We'll see them again, won't we?
That's right.
Well, look, we can't have Buddy Lyles on the show and not play one of your songs. You released a solo project back several years ago. It's a great project. It's called I'll See You in Heaven Someday, and there's a fun tune on there. It's an upbeat tune. It's called Let's All Go Down to the River, and I really like that one. If it's okay with you, we'll end this little segment with that.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, that's what we're going to do. Mr. Buddy, I appreciate you taking time out of your morning to come be a part of our show. You've made it special, throwing it back to the Florida Boys.
The pleasure was mine, and I hope that our paths will cross another time.
I do, too. You've got a friend here on the morning show, Buddy Lyles.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Let's all go down to the river. There's a man walking on the water. Come along with me. Oh, I want to see this man walking on the water. He can raise the dead from the grave and change the water and turn it into wine. He can make the lame walk, he can make the dumb talk, open up the eyes of the blind. Let's all
Tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow, July the 1st, tickets will go on sale for that big event. The morning show is bringing a Christmas spectacular to the Temple Theater in Meridian, Mississippi, featuring none other than our favorites, Southbound, and our good friends, the Browders. The spectacular will take place on Thursday, December the 1st, and will be the official kickoff to the Christmas season. It will be a magical event. And it's something you just can't miss. We have various tickets available to fit every budget, and even a meet and greet opportunity available for those who would like to come a little early, meet Southbound and the Browders. You can be a part of a reception with the groups, and we'll even take your picture with the guys. Tickets go on sale tomorrow. Here's the important part. If you get your tickets during our Christmas in July celebration, then you will receive your tickets at a discounted price. After July the 31st, they will go up to full price. So the month of July is the time to plan for this event. So tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow, July the 1st, tickets go on sale, itickets.com. The Christmas Spectacular, Southbound, the Browders, the Temple Theater, Thursday, December the 1st. The official kickoff to the Christmas season. Get your tickets tomorrow. My name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons, and you are listening to a special throwback edition of The Morning Show. I wanted to mention one other thing, Brother Mike, and ask you if I'm correct about this. I believe that you and your group were some of the first ones to ever put videos to your songs. I think you kind of set a trend in that. Weren't you the first, kind of the first to do that concept?
You are absolutely right. My brother, Mark, who in fact, even today, handles all of our video and media things and makes sure everything's in high def and makes sure everything is good quality. He said, let's do a concept video like they have on MTV. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, let's give it a shot. And we put I'm a Jesus Fan together as a concept video. I'm trying to think, Canaan Records at the time, were part of Word Records. They saw it and flew Mark and I to Nashville to pick our brains about how we did it, because it was the first concept video in Southern Gospel. And what an honor that was that we were part of pioneering that.
That's a big deal. I mean, you kind of go down in history as really starting something new right there. And look where it has evolved into and what it's developed into. You guys get the credit for that. And that's pretty impressive. Well, it's Throwback Thursday, and we want to spotlight a song in particular. My favorite, and there's so many good Payne songs, and you've written so many great songs, but I really think my favorite is that song that, and you can tell me if it was number one. I think it was, but back in 1996, you guys put out a song called I Know He's Been a Long Time Coming, but He's Gonna Be a Long Time Gone. Did that one go to number one?
I don't think it was number one, but it definitely got a lot of airplay, and I think it hit top 10. Mm-hmm.
It should have been number one, Brother Mike.
It should have been. Yeah.
They don't always get it right.
Amen. But I do have fond memories of that.
Did you write that one?
I did write that one. Yeah. And what it was is I was looking for ideas. And during this time, long time coming, the band, the Paynes, had basically retired, and I was doing evangelistic work. And it was me, my wife and daughter were on the road, which I don't know if you've ever heard my daughter sing, but she's just tremendous, and she leads our worship. But we were looking for ideas. I was looking for ideas for songs, and I was just looking through some titles from Billboard magazine, just looking at some titles just to get ideas. Mm-hmm. And I saw the title "Long Time Coming." I thought, wow, that's a great title. And right below it was another song called "Long Time Gone."
Isn't that something?
And I go, well, that's a song in itself.
Yeah.
And I got to thinking about how that, that the world doesn't believe, in general, doesn't believe like we do in the coming of the Lord. And there are scoffers, and there are people that make fun of us as Christians because we we continue to say and believe and know that Jesus is coming.
Mhm.
And I thought about where the Bible says that God is not slack concerning his promises, as some men count slackness, and he will fulfill his promise. And so I started working on a song, and I thought about how my grandpa and grandma used to tell me Jesus is coming. And I just started writing. I've heard them talk about heaven since I was a child. My grandpa would tell me Jesus is coming after a while. But if you think I'm discouraged, you're absolutely wrong. I know it's been a long time coming. It's gonna be a long time gone. And I wrote about heaven forever and ever. While eternity rolls, the walls are made of jasper. The streets of purest gold. Saints by the millions will sing redemption song. I know it's been a long time coming. It's gonna be a long time gone. And it flowed so easily. And when we sang that song, I'm telling you, people came to the altar over and over again. People found Jesus over and over again because they realized the promise is true. They realized that Jesus is coming. They realized that they needed Jesus. And that's the way the song was born. And the second verse, and I like to say that, came from the scripture. 1,000 years to the Lord is just like one day. And he won't forget us. He'll keep his promise and take us away. When the bride is completed, he'll step down from his throne. That's what we as Christians are looking for. Right now, we're singing. Right now, we're preaching. Right now, we're telling the world Jesus is coming. But there's going to be that time, that point, where the bridegroom is completed. And when it is, he's going to step down and bring us home. And it could be any moment.
It could be before we finish this morning.
It could. It could. And that's the beautiful thing about serving God.
Yeah.
That we trust in him and we know he keeps his promises.
Yeah. Well, we've had church this morning right here on the morning show.
Yes,
and Mike Payne, I didn't know I was going to get to hear you sing live, but let me tell you, my friend, you still got it. You've still got it. And, one of the favorite things about your writing for me is the melodies. Let me tell you, you write some of the catchiest, most singable, enjoyable melodies that I have ever heard. And that was fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much.
Go ahead.
I just want to say this. When I got into this thing, none of my family before me played music. It wasn't in the ancestry, so to speak. But I wanted a tool. I wanted something that I could communicate with people. And I thought, I think one of the best ways to communicate is music. And that's when I asked God to give it. If you heard some of my early, if you heard some of the very early recordings, you'd laugh. But God, was faithful. And I kept going back to that. And God gave me songs back then that are still relative today. I still have people that get a hold of me on Facebook and says, not only was I a fan back then, but my son is, and now my grandson or my granddaughter is. Yeah. And it's amazing because when something has God's anointing, it's going to last forever.
Well, Brother Mike, I'm trying to share all of these songs to a brand new generation out there and just keep all of this going and keep it alive because it's worth it. It's worth it.
Amen.
Well, let's play this song. Let's play this song right here on the morning show. We're clinging to this promise. We believe it. Here's the song written by Mike Payne, and it doesn't get much better than this. Long time coming, long time gone. Here it is.
Them talk about heaven since I was a child. My grandpa would tell me Jesus is coming in a little while. But if you think I'm discouraged, you're absolutely wrong. I know it's been a long time coming, but we're gonna be a long time gone. Forever and ever, while eternity rolls. Walls are made of jasper, streets are pure as gold. Saints by the millions will sing redemption song. I know it's been a long time coming, but we're gonna be a long time gone. 1,000 years to the Lord is just like one day. He won't forget us. He'll keep his promise and take us away. When the bride is completed, he'll step down from his throne. I know he's been a long time coming, but when we leave, we'll be a long time gone. Forever and ever, while eternity rolls. Walls are made of jasper, streets are pure as gold. Saints by the millions, they will sing redemption song. I know it's been a long time coming, but we're gonna be a long time gone. I know it's been a long time coming, but we're gonna be a long time gone.
My name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons, and you are listening to a special throwback edition of The Morning Show.
We're glad you're listening this morning to The Morning Show with Natalie Duncan-Emmons. Stay tuned. The best is yet to come.
You're listening to The Morning Show, and here's your pastor's perspective, brought to you today by Dr. Tony Evans of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship in Dallas, Texas.
Right now, you and I are in the midst of a war. And the head of this, Satan, is called the prince of the power of the air. In other words, you breathe in this stuff. When I use the term spiritual warfare, I am referring to a cosmic conflict occurring in the invisible angelic realm that is being flushed out, worked out in the very visible physical realm. Perhaps you are an emotional casualty of this warfare. Discouragement, depression, downtroddenness, perhaps a sense of even split personality has affected you by this war. Many of us have been affected in our marriages by it. Divorce, conflict, being bruised and battered as children growing up in insensitive homes. It affects us morally. It affects our ability to control our passions or to yield to those passions. Many of us did not know it, but our financial situation is directly related to losing the warfare. And we just thought it was related to the credit cards. This battle affects us in our relationships, our friends, our co-workers. No matter where you run, where you try to hide, you are a recipient of the battle of the ages. The battle I simply call spiritual warfare.
The pastor's perspective was brought to you by Salem Baptist Church in Lake, Mississippi. Salem is my home church, and I'm thrilled that they've partnered with The Morning Show to help us bring you, well, not only the best music in the world, but encouragement and words of life straight from God's Word. Brother Larry Duncan and the entire congregation at Salem, they invite you to come and visit whenever you get the chance. We're located just a few miles off of I-20 coming through mid-Mississippi. So if you live in our area, if you're ever traveling through our area on a Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, well, you stop off the lake exit and visit with us. Thank you to Salem Baptist Church for bringing you your pastor's perspective.
The verdict was guilty, case closed, the end. No chance for me to ever leave this prison of my sin. Now I know it might sound crazy, but one day a key unlocked that cell. I heard a small voice say your debt's been paid by somebody else. And now I'm walking free. No more darkness, guilt has lost its grip on me. When mercy called my name, those chains fell at my feet. And now I'm walking free. Now I ain't nothing perfect. I still stumble every single day. I still get knocked down, but the difference now is that's not where I stay. 'Cause I got a Savior who knows everywhere I've been, and he's telling me that I never have to go back there again. So now I'm walking free. No more darkness, guilt has lost its grip on me. When mercy called my name, those chains fell at my feet. And now I'm walking free, walking free. Walking free. To the one walking wounded, and to the one with regret, look up and see your victory is just up ahead. 'Cause there is a Savior who knows everywhere you've been, and he's telling you that you never have to go back there again. So if you know that you never have to go back there again, then sing, I'm walking free. No more darkness, guilt has lost its grip on me. When mercy called my name, those chains fell at my feet. And now I'm walking free, walking free. Walking free, yeah. Oh, I know, walking free, yeah. I'm walking free.
My name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons, and you are listening to a special throwback edition of The Morning Show. My name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons. You are listening to The Morning Show. It's Thursday morning. You know what we do on Thursday morning. We throw it back. And I've never been quite so excited about a Thursday throwback segment as I am today. We have an icon with us today, and I've had a good time researching and digging and getting ready for this. It's none other than Brother Lanny Wolf here with us on The Morning Show. Brother Wolf, are you with us?
I am with you, Natalie. Good to talk to you.
It's good to talk to you too. I've had a great time getting ready for this. Let me start out by saying you're a really big deal. I've heard your name all of my life. I've been singing these songs since I was a child, but I must admit, I don't think I really ever fully understood or appreciated what you've done for gospel music, but now that is remedied. I do understand now. I do get it. And I am in awe of you, Mr. Lanny Wolf, and what God has done with your talent, your time, and your treasures. We're delighted to have you on The Morning Show.
Well, thank you, Maya. I don't think I can live up to all that, but I'll try to do that in 15 minutes.
You already have lived up to it, Brother Lanny. We're just here to talk about it today. You are a Grammy and Dove award-winning songwriter and singer. You also led the Lanny Wolf Trio, which traveled and ministered pretty much in the 70s and the 80s. I'm going to ask you a little bit later what's going on with that group Now, Brother Lanny, you have written over 700 songs. It's impossible for us to cover over 700 songs today. It's impossible for us to cover your career in a 15-minute segment, but I'm going to go out on a limb today. Maybe this is too bold. I don't know, but it's my show. So what's the worst thing that can happen? I can say what I want to on my show. So I'm going to say it, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to give you a title this morning. I made it up. I have no backing for this. It's simply my opinion, my way of honoring you. So today, Thursday, June the 9th, 2022, you heard it right here on the morning show. I am calling Lanny Wolf the father of modern day worship music. You were edgy, creative, inspirational, and you created a phenomenon. You ushered in the breakthrough of what we now know, I believe, is praise and worship music. What do you think, Mr. Wolf? Is that a far stretch, or am I pretty accurate?
I think you did a great job there, Natalie. you framed it really well. First of all, a lot of people felt that I was ahead of my time. Anybody that's making waves will be criticized for being ahead of their time. You have to do what you feel God is wanting you to do, and you have to live above criticism, and you have to push with what you think God is inspiring you to do. So I appreciate the words you said. That was very kind.
You spent a big portion of your career as the dean of the School of Music in Jackson, Mississippi, called the Jackson School of Ministries. Brother Lanny, I'm not far from Jackson. I'm about an hour from Jackson in Scott County, Mississippi. It's a small world, huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah. You ever been to Scott County?
We probably passed through it.
Yeah. You're headed towards Meridian. Yeah. You're headed towards Meridian from Jackson. We're right off of I-20. You influenced gospel music in, I think, two major ways. First of all, it was through your music, through the recordings and the writing of your original music, but also through the National Music Ministry Conference. That was an annual conference hosted by the Jackson School of Ministries Bible School and the First Pentecostal Church of Jackson, Mississippi, where you worked, I believe, from 1974 to 1993. At those conferences,
you got it all down just right.
Yeah, I told you I researched this. I didn't take it lightly.
Yeah,
they mentioned Lanny Wolf to me, and I got real busy, and I've been busy ever since. At those conferences, you offered classes in church music and workmanship, sound control, and production, and you taught the ordinary church musician important tools to create a professional sound in church worship. These conferences, well, they would set the trend really for what would be popular the next year in church music. I'd love to know, we won't ever know, but I'd love to know how many people you influenced through all those years at that conference. No telling.
And they were so exciting because we'd be at the City Auditorium for 5 nights. We would have like 200 seminars running through the day. We would have 500 participants. We would have a 500 voice choir on Friday night that we would do a recording with. And the presence of God just permeated all of that. It's very difficult to put it into words, what God was really doing. And so people came from everywhere, and we would do like 15 new songs for each year. And so they would learn those songs and they would take them back to the church. And so those songs became 15 new songs that kind of set direction for the next year. Mm-hmm. It was really exciting. We were so blessed to have just so many talented students that came through that college, students like Jaron Davis. We have Vonnie Lopez, we have Vicky Yohe, we have Dan Dean, just on and on and on, just so many talented people. It was a pleasure to see what God was doing through our efforts there.
Well, you've heard people mention before if they could go back in time and do stuff. If I could go back and do one thing, I think one of the things I would like to do if I could go back in time is to attend the National Music Ministry Conference. I think I would have liked to have been a student there. I missed it, but I would have liked to have been.
Oh, and you would have been in hog heaven, if I could say that. You would have been there, Natalie, on a Friday night, and the mass choir was singing, and the presence of God was really. It was an era, an 18-year era, that so many wonderful things happened that God was doing through this conference, and so many churches were affected, and it did set direction for so many music people. And if I could go back, now that you mentioned it, I would love to be back on a Friday night. And one of my favorite songs was I'll make it home someday. I know I'll make. And we started that song, and the presence of God just permeated that city auditorium. And it's almost like we couldn't stop it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just such a powerful move of God, and everybody felt so. I would love for you to have been there. Hey, we did record it, so that would be the next best thing to being there.
We'll go back and listen. Yeah, we go back and listen to it. Well, you're a brilliant composer, and it seems to me like you had a formula. Southern gospel form, the emotional factor of Black gospel, the classical and jazzy musical arrangements mixed with a modern pop sound. You changed what we play and sing in church, Mr. Wolf, and not just in the Pentecostal denomination, which is where you were a prominent leader, but all across denominational lines. You changed it all. And I put together a little medley of some of those Lanny Wolf songs that I grew up singing. Would it be okay this morning if we played this little medley of some of those great songs that we've loved for a long, long time?
I would love to hear it. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, let's play it. And look, some of our listeners this morning may not recognize, or they may not think they recognize the name Lanny Wolf, but when they hear these songs and they start singing along with them, they're going to go, that's Lanny Wolf. We do know Lanny Wolf. So just hold on, everybody. These songs are coming, and you're going to know them and sing every word with them. Here they are, a little collection here from our guest this morning, of Lanny Wolf.
Just beyond